On the bottom of Kuf Lamed Dal Lamed Beis. Tanu Rabbanon. Says in the Mishnah, Safik Vandrogenis. If you have a child that's a Safik, or you have a child that's an androgynous, which is a baby that has a siman of a male and a siman of a female, so it's a Safik if he's chayiv and a bris, so there's no bris that could be deiche Shabbos in this case. Tanu Rabbanon, the last few words of Kuf Lamed Dal Lamed Beis. Tana Rabbanan, we learned in the bris as follows: Or los soy. The Torah says, "Ubayayim hashmini yimayil besar or los soy." Or los soy vaday doiches Shabbos. If you have a vaday orla, a case where there is definitely a chiyuv to cut off the orla, that will push off Shabbos. V'loi safik doiches Shabbos. We're on the top of Kuf Lamed Hey now. A safik, if it's a case in doubt, it does not push off Shabbos. Or los soy vaday. The bris continues. Or losai vadai doiches Shabbos. If it's a definite case where there's an arla, so you chayiv in the bris, it pushes off Shabbos. V'loi androgenis, but not a case of an androgenis doiches Shabbos. That does not push off Shabbos. Rabbi Yehuda, regarding the androgenis, Rabbi Yehuda disagrees, as we learned in the Mishnah. Androgenis doiches Shabbos. V'onish kares, androgenis does push off Shabbos, and in fact, an androgenis that does not make a bris, he will be chayav kares, less like anybody else. If he passes away without a bris, is chayav kares. Or lasai, so that's regarding the androgenis. Rabbi Yehuda argues. The Braisa continues another drasha we learn out from the word ar lasai. Ar lasai vaday doiches Shabbos. Ar lasai tells me that only a vaday will push off Shabbos, and there's another case here that's a suffix, if the bris has to be done on Shabbos or not. V'loi neilad bein hashmashos doiches Shabbos. Not if it's a baby born bein hashmashos, for example, Friday night between Shkia and Tzeisak Yechavim, it's born bein hashmashos, so you're not sure if the 8 days on Shabbos or not, so it's not doiches Shabbos either. V'loi, another thing now the Braisa says, V'loi neilad keshehu mol, a baby that's born without the arla, so the bris is already done naturally, that's also not, V'loi neilad keshehu mol doiches Shabbos, it's also not doiches Shabbos. This is going to be the whole sugi here. We're going to learn. Beishamai say tzarich lahatif mimenu dam bris. Beishamai says that when a child is born without an arla, so then there is bloodletting. You have to take out some blood to make the bris. But even according to Beishamai, that there has to be a toughest dam bris, that you have to take out some blood, that's not something that pushes off Shabbos. And Beis Hillel say, Ein tzarich, nothing has to be done. He's born mol, he doesn't have the mitzvah of a bris at all, and therefore obviously there's nothing to be done on Shabbos. Now the Braisa continues, Omer Rab Shimon ben Elazar, that no, this is not what Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel argued about. Leinechlaku Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel are not arguing about a child that's born ma'ul, that's born without an arla. Everybody will agree, a baby born mole, you do have to do a tafas dam bris. Why? Because this is the arla is suppressed into the flesh of the baby. It's there, you don't see it, and therefore everybody will agree that there has to be a tafas dam bris. What case do Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel argue about? Al gershen is gai keshumol. A ger that becomes a ger, he had a circumcision done from before. So there is no arla anymore. And now he becomes a ger, so the question is, when he becomes a ger, do you have to do a tafas dam bris? Beis Shammai say that you do have to do a tafas dam bris. Beis Hillel say ein tzarich lahatif mimenu dam bris. It's not necessary to do a tafas dam bris. So the machlokes here, the last point we just learned in this brisa, the machlokes between the Tana Kama and Rab Shimon ben Elazar is, in what case are Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel arguing? The Tana Kama says the argument of Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, whether you have to do a tafas dam bris when there is no arla, is regarding a baby born with a bris. Then Rab Shimon ben Elazar says, no, in that case, everybody agrees you have to do a tafas dam bris. They're only arguing about a gersh and his gayer that had a circumcision done from before, whether when he's being this gayer again, one of the things of the gayrus is to make a bris, whether you have to do a tafas dam bris. Okay, so Gemara is going to discuss that by Arichis, but first it starts with the first part of the Braisa. Omar, it said in the beginning of this Braisa, V'loi safik doiches Shabbos, that when you have a baby which is a safik, it doesn't push off Shabbos. Asks the Gemara, La suya mai, what case is that coming to include? It said in the bris the case of an androgynous. It says in the bris the case of a child born ben hashmoshes. So that's the two cases we know of that is a suffix whether he's chayiv in a bris today. What's the third case that the bris is referring to when it says suffix? Answers the Gemara, La suya hadatana rabbanon. This comes to include the case that it says in the bris ben shiva, a baby born to 7 months, machal and olav Shabbos. You can desecrate Shabbos for the bris. Ben ches, a baby born in the 8th month, ein machal and olav Shabbos. You're not machal Shabbos at all for his bris. Safik ben zayin, I'll explain in a second. Safik ben zayin, safik ben ches. If you don't know whether the baby was born to the 7th month or to the 8th month, ein machal and olav Shabbos. You're not machal Shabbos either, because it's a safik whether the baby is chayiv in the bris or not. What's the reason? Says the Braise, ben shmeina harehu ke'even. A baby born in the 8th month is treated like a stone. It's a baby that cannot survive, cannot live, and therefore he's not chayiv in a bris, and he's not going to survive, and therefore there's nothing you can do for this baby. You're not allowed to move this baby, you're not allowed to do anything for it, because it's like muktzah. It's as if you had a stillborn. It's as if the baby is not alive at all. Aval, what could be done? Imay shoiche umanikasai mipnei sakana. If the mother's life is in danger, meaning that she has too much milk and she has to express some milk for herself because of the sakana, so then in such a case she could bend over and feed the baby without moving the baby at all. Okay, so I'm sure you're all thinking, I mentioned this before, that a baby born to 8 months cannot survive. We see that it's not the fact. So Taisus over here, the Bramaschal ben Shmeina Re'eh Ke'even Asal Taltale, makes 2 points. First of all, Taisus says that most times it's very difficult to know exactly if the baby is born in the 7th month or in the 8th month, or sometimes between the 8th month and the 9th month. It's not always clear exactly which month it is to the day. So therefore, we can't always say that we know. So anytime a baby is born, we can't say, oh, this is a baby from the 8th month, and therefore it can't survive. It's one point Taisus makes. Another point Taisus makes is that even if we know for a fact that the baby was born to the 8th month, still the baby could live. Today we see that babies born to the 8th month could live, and therefore you have to treat the baby like a regular baby, which is chayiv in a bris, and you have to do everything for the baby, even on Shabbos. Unless you see that it's mamish a baby that's not going to live. There are Chman al-Islam cases where a baby is born and it's just a matter of minutes or whatever that the baby passes away. But this inyan of ben ches is not any more relevant today. The nishtanu ativim or the nature changed, or it's different today.
It's epicha common sense, because if it's earlier, then it's premature. You would think that if the 7th month it would live, why not the 8th? What is it?
As is given at Teva, that when the baby was born in the 8th month, the Gemara describes in another place that the sides were not completed, the nails were not completed, and the body could not survive.
So 7 for sure not.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. Sagt the Gemara weiter, now we go to the halacha of the machlokes between the Tana Kama and Rab Shimon ben Elazar regarding a baby born without an arla. Do you have to make a tafas dam bris or not? Itmar, we learned the following machlokes. Rav Amar halacha Tana Kama. So Rav says the halacha is like the Tana Kama. So Beis Hillel, according to the Tana Kama, holds you don't have to make a bris. Shmuel Amar, Shmuel says halacha Rab Shimon ben Elazar. We passing like Rab Shimon ben Elazar. Rab Shimon ben Elazar says no, a baby born with a bris, everybody agrees you have to do a tafas dam bris again. The argument was only regarding a ger. Dr. Gemara, Rav Ada Baraves Yalad Le'ahu Yenuke. Rav Ada Barave gave birth to a baby, Kishum Mahal, and the baby had a bris naturally. Ahadre, and now this was Shabbos. He was looking to make the bris on Shabbos. Ahadre Atlese Muhali. He went to look for Moelim. Anyone is going to do Hatafas Dam bris for him on Shabbos. And nobody wanted. They didn't want to be Machal Shabbos for this. They held like the opinion that you're not Machal Shabbos for Hatafas Dam bris. And then Rav Ada Barave made the bris himself. Ad the Shavye Krus Shavcha. He made the bris himself, and he cut off flesh from the baby's body too much that he mamish caused him to become a Krus Shavcha. Cut off too much. So now this terrible thing happened. Omar, he said, Teisi li. This happened to me, the Ovri Adarav, because I went against what Rav said. Rav said that we paskin like the Tana that says that you don't make a bris for a baby that's born with a bris. He paskins like the Tana Kama. The Beis Hillel holds a baby born without an arla, there's no need to do anything. So because I was Machal Shabbos, I went against Rav, that's why this happened to me. Oh, Malay Rav Nachman. So Rav Nachman said, Va'ad Shmuel lo yavar. Was he not over on Shmuel's opinion as well? Shmuel Taka said that a baby born without an arla, you have to make a tafas dam bris, but who says he was talking about Shabbos? Ei medama Shmuel. When did Shmuel say that you have to do a tafas dam bris? B'choil. If the baby is born during the week, so then that's something that has to be done during the week. B'Shabbos miyama, did he ever say that according to Beis Hillel, hatafas dam bris could be done on Shabbos? Can't be done on Shabbos. That was the opinion of Rav Nachman. So now the Gemara explains that Rav Ada bar Ava himself that ended up making the bris, or at least trying to make the bris, what did he hold? Why was he so insistent to make the bris on Shabbos? Who sabar? Rav Ada bar Ava himself held Vadai Arla Kvushahi. In a case where a baby is born without an arla, without the foreskin that we can see, it's considered to be an arla which is suppressed inside the flesh of the body. It's part of the flesh of the body, and therefore there is an arla there, and you have to let some blood in order to remove that arla that's there. So it's definitely a case which is chayiv in a bris, like a regular baby born with the regular arla. Now the Gemara brings an argument about this. The Itmer, we learned the Machlekes Amiraim, Rabba Amar, Rabba says, in a case of a baby born without an arla, Chayshinan Shema Arla Kvushihi. We're concerned that possibly there is an arla, but it's just suppressed under the skin, and therefore you have to make a bris l'chumra. Rav Yosef Amar, Rav Yosef says, no, not Chayshinan. It's not a maybe. Vadai Arla Kvushihi. Definitely a baby born has an arla. Sometimes usually you see it and sometimes you don't see it. So therefore, because there's definitely an arla, therefore it's for sure chayiv and a bris regular. So this was the opinion of Rav Ada bar Ava. Rav Yosef. Now Rav Yosef brings the source of his opinion. Where do I see that this opinion that a baby born without a arla, definitely there's an arla there that can't be seen? So we learned in the Brais as follows. Coming back to the machlokes of Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai. So here the Gemara brings another detail, another thing that Rabbi Eliezer HaKappar said about this. Rabbi Eliezer HaKappar says, Lo nechlaku Beis Shammai u Beis Hillel al neilad keshehu mahol. They're not arguing regarding a baby that's born mahol without an arla. Shetzarech lahatif mimenu dam bris, that there has to be a tafas dam bris done. Everybody agrees that it has to be done. Alma nechlaku. What was their argument? L'chalal olav Shabbos. The question is, am I so sure that there's a arla there that I could be machal Shabbos for this? Beis Shammai yomerin machal olav Shabbos. Beis Shammai say that I'm so sure that there's an arla there that it's like a regular baby that you make a bris on Shabbos and you could be machal Shabbos for this. And Beis Hillel yomerin ein machal olav Shabbos. And Beis Hillel say no. You still have to do a tafas dam bris because maybe there's an arla there, but it's not for sure. So therefore you can't be machal Shabbos for this. This is what Rabbi Eliezer HaKappar...
It would be the other way around. Beis Shammai would be more...
Yeah, okay. So over here, it's the stringency of Beis Shammai regarding bris. Beis Shammai is saying that there's definitely a need to make the bris. And therefore, you're allowed to be machal Shabbos for this. Beis Hillel says, no, we're not sure if it's even obligated in the bris, so you can't be machal Shabbos for this. So in this braise, it's quoting what Rabbi Eliezer HaKappar says. Now, that braise has a Tanakama. Rabbi Eliezer HaKappar is coming to argue on an opinion that was before him. The Gemara does not quote the beginning of the braise, or we don't know what the beginning of the braise is, but the Gemara now is going to be medayik and assume what Rabbi Eliezer HaKappar was coming to argue on. Lav Miklal. Can't we prove from here? The Tanakama Sava. What did the Tanakama hold? In this Braise, Rabbi Eliezer HaKappar is coming to argue on something. What did the Tanakama hold? Mechal and Olav Shabbos. That both Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel hold that a baby born without an arla needs a bris, and even Beis Hillel agree that you're Mechal Shabbos. Everybody agrees that you have to be Mechal Shabbos. That was the opinion of the Tanakama. And then what did Rabbi Eliezer HaKappar come to say? Rabbi Eliezer HaKappar came to say, no, Beis Hillel disagrees. Beis Hillel says you can't be Machal Shabbos because we don't know for sure if there's an arla there. That seems to be the pshat over here in this Braisa. So this was the source for Rav Yosef's opinion that, according to the Tanakama, everybody agrees that a child born without an arla, there's definitely an arla there and you can be Machal Shabbos. So the Gemara says, how do you know this? We're only assuming what the Tanakama held, so let's assume the opposite. Maybe the Tanakama came to say that both Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai say that a baby born without a arla, a bris has to be done, but everybody says that the bris cannot be done on Shabbos. Even Beis Shammai says that the bris cannot be done on Shabbos. And then what did Rabbi Eliezer HaKapper come to say? Beis Hillel holds that the bris can't be done on Shabbos, but Beis Shammai holds that the bris could be done on Shabbos. Maybe that's how you read the pshat on this brayse. Im Kain, says the Gemara, but if the Tanakama holds that according to everybody you cannot be Mechal Shabbos, if so, Rabbi Eliezer HaKapper Taime de Beis Shammai Yaseh Lashminon. Rabbi Eliezer HaKapper, what is he arguing? What is he coming to say? He's coming to tell us Beis Shammai's opinion. The Tanakama is saying that according to everybody, the bris can't be done on Shabbos because we're not sure if there's an arla there. And Beis Shammai came to say, no, the bris could be done on Shabbos. Now this is very unusual. Rabbi Eliezer HaKapper should argue and explain only because he wants to teach us what Beis Shammai holds. Regarding Beis Hillel, he agrees that the bris can't be done on Shabbos. He's just saying his opinion to let us know what Beis Shammai holds. So Rashi says here, this is not usual. B'derech klal, we know that Beis Shammai, Mocking Beis Hillel, not only do we not paskin like Beis Shammai, it's considered to be Eina Mishnah. It's like it's not something that it's worth mentioning just for the purpose to let us know Beis Shammai's opinion. So therefore, the Gemara's assumption comes back that the Tanakama holds that both according to Beis Hillel and according to Beis Shammai, the bris could be done on Shabbos. This is the source of Rav Yosef's opinion, that according to everybody, there's definitely a arla there, and therefore everybody agrees it could be done on Shabbos. Then Rabbi Eliezer HaKapper came to let us know Beis Hillel's opinion. Beis Hillel says we're not sure if there's an arla there, and therefore you can't do it on Shabbos. So the Gemara says, no. The Gemara concludes, Dilma, maybe the way to learn what Rabbi Eliezer HaKapper is saying is, Hachi Ka'amar. This is what he meant to say. Lo nechleku Beis Shammai u Beis Hillel b'davar zeh. Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai are not arguing about this. Both according to Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai, everybody agrees that the bris can't be, everybody agrees that the bris could be done on Shabbos because there's definitely an arl over there. Maybe that's the pshat over here in this brayse. So therefore we don't know, the bottom line is, we can't conclude what the pshat of the Tanakam over here was. Okay, this is the conclusion of the sugya of Hatafas Dam Bris. In our Gemara, just to leave off with one point, in our Gemara, when it talks about Hatafas Dam Bris, what's the basis of taking out some blood in a case where a baby is born with an arla, or in a case where there was a circumcision done for a ger? It's because, without an arla, or a ger that was born with a circumcision, it's because there's an arla kvusha. Maybe there's an arla kvusha. But l'chayre, the inyan of arla kavusha, that there's still a arla that's suppressed under the skin, that doesn't apply by a ger. He was born with an arla and they removed it. So there is in the Medrash, it brings another reason. That it says in the Torah, himayl yimayl, a double lashon, and it teaches me that there's a chiyuv to do a tafas dam bris even when there is no arla. So it's not because maybe there's an arla there, and is there not, the whole discussion of our sugya. It's a pasuk that says that the same Torah that gives you the mitzvah to remove the arla says that when there's no arla, you have to do a tafas dam bris. And it's interesting that the Rambam, when he paskins this inyan, he doesn't bring up this whole inyan of arla kvusha. From the Rambam, it's mashma that the mitzvah of atofas dam bris is because that's part of the mitzvah of mila, just like the mitzvah of a bris b'chlal. It's learned out from that pasuk of himal yima.
Also, but the Marichai, but the Marichai is
dam mila. Dam mila. So there's an inyan of atofas dam bris.
Just it can be done on Shabbos.
Yeah. But it can't be done on Shabbos though. The Rambam still paskins it can't be done on Shabbos. Cannot be done on Shabbos. Yeah, ben hashmoshes as well. Baby born ben hashmoshes cannot be done on Shabbos as well. Correct. Zakt Gemara Amar Ravasi. So we begin a new inyan here. Ravasi says, Kol she'imay tmeya leida. In any case where the mother, there's a tumas leida, that the mother is tamei, nimel shmayna. We wait until the 8th day to make the bris. So if you look in Chumash, the tumas leida of a mother that gives birth to a son, the tumas leida is for 1 week, and then the mother can go to the mikveh, and then on the 8th day the mother is not tummy anymore. Today's day and age, this is not applicable anymore. It's not that way. The tumah lasts for much longer. But in Chumash, Menat Torah, the Tumas Leida lasts for 1 day, for 1 week that is. On the 8th day, the Tumah is not there. That Lagabe, such a case, the Torah says you wait for the bris until the 8th day. Shenamar, because in the Pasuk, when it says the mitzvah of bris in Parshas Tazria, what does it say? Isha kisazria v'yolda zacha v'tama. Skipped something? Sorry, okay. Yeah. V'chol she'eni my tmei leida. If there's no Tumas Leida, now when is there a case when there's no Tumas Leida? So Rashi here says when there's a cesarean, and if this is a cesarean, there's no Tumas Leida, or another case Rashi says, a guy that gave birth to a child and then she was Megayer afterwards. So there's no Tumas Leida because when she gave birth, she wasn't Jewish b'chlal. So in such a case, you don't wait till the 8th day to make the bris. You can make the bris right away on the 1st day. If the baby is healthy enough, you can make the bris. You don't wait until the 8th day. Shenamar, the pasuk says, Isha kisazriya v'yolda zacha v'tama v'gaimer. There's the din of tumah for the mother for the 1st week. Uba yaimar shmini yimel b'sar lasa. And the 8th day you make the bris. So you see that you only wait until the 8th day in a case where the mother became tummy for 1 week. Otherwise, you make the bris immediately on the 1st day. Amalei Abaye asks a question. We can bring a proof from the earlier generations before Matan Torah. As Rashi here says, from Avraham Avinu, they already had the mitzvah of bris. There's no Tumas Leida before Matan Torah, and yet they got the mitzvah then. It already says in Parshas Lech Lecha that the bris should be made on the 8th day. So we see that it's not contingent to the Tumas Leida. Amalei, so he answered him, that's no raya from there. Nitna Teira v'nischat halacha. The Eibishter gave Teira, and there's a new halacha, a new detail added to the mitzvah of bris, that it only should be done on the 8th day if there's a Tumas Leida. If there's no Tumas Leida, so then you don't wait to the 8th day.
What's the connection?
The Gemara here doesn't explain the connection, but there is another Gemara that says, that if the mother is in Tumah, so then the mother and father can't have any relations, so the mother and father shouldn't be sad by the bris, and everybody else is celebrating and happy. So therefore you wait until the 8th day. But in a case where there is no Tumas Leida b'chlal, so then you can make the bris right away on the 1st day.
What if it's twins and there's a boy and a girl born together, so then Tumas Leida
So you have to wait for 2 weeks.
But that's obviously not the halacha.
Right, correct. But anyways, like I said, this whole Indian of Tumah, that after a week there's no Tumah, doesn't apply really today anymore.
Right.
Zak the Gemara, Eini, is this true? Does the number 8, the 8th day that we wait for the bris, apply only when there's a Tumas Leida, and that's why we wait, otherwise we don't? For ha'itmer, we learned the following thing, Mi yetze daifen of cesarean, or mishi yesh leishtei arlois, a baby born with 2 arlois. So Rashi says 2 arlois either means literally that there's 2 foreskins, there's 2 arlois on the aver of the body. Or Rashi says there's 2 evarim, which has 2 arlois that you have to make a bris on. So could this be Deiche Shabbos or not? Rav Huna v'Rab Chiya barav Chad Amar Mechal and all of us a Shabbos. One of them says you could be Mechal Shabbos. V'Chad Amar Ein Mechal and all of us Ein Mechal. The other opinion says you can't be Mechal Shabbos. So they're arguing about whether you can be Mechal Shabbos here. But everybody agrees that the bris is a din. You have to do the bris, and you have to do the bris in the regular time. Ad kan lepligi ela lachal olav Shabbos. The argument over here regarding both of these cases is whether you can be Mechal Shabbos for this. But aval shmeina vadim alinale. But everybody agrees that the bris is done on the 8th day. That includes a case of Yetze Daifen. Yetze Daifen is a case where the mother does not become tameh, but the bris, according to everybody, is done on the 8th day. The argument is whether it's done on Shabbos or not. So that refutes what we said before. This refutes what Rav Asi said. So the Gemara says no. For the Gemara, ha baha talya. These 2 things are dependent one on another. If the mitzvah is to do the bris on the 8th day, therefore, if the 8th day is on Shabbos, you machal Shabbos. If there's no mitzvah to do the bris on the 8th day, so therefore it's not machal Shabbos. Similar to what we learned before, of mila shalei bizmana. If it's no mitzvah to do it today on the 8th day, so then it's not machal Shabbos. So even though the bris there is talking about chilul Shabbos, it goes together with the question of whether the bris is done on the 8th day or not. This statement of Rav Asi that the date of the 8th day is dependent on whether there's Tumas Leida or not, this is a machlokes Tanoim. And here the Braise brings, this is a long Braise that discusses the case of making a bris for an Evet Kanani. The halacha of making a bris is not only for a baby, or not only for a ger, but also an Evet Kanani, which is also a certain extent of gerus. When you're buying an Evet Kanani, he becomes a half Jew. That's the only case where you really have a half Jew. He's chayiv in mitzvahs like a woman. So for an Evet Kanani, you're supposed to make a bris. Now, just before we read the Gemara inside, there's a big chelik of what the Gemara needs to, for the teichen, to understand this Gemara that's not inside the Gemara. And Rashi explains this over here in the Rashi, Yesh Yilid Bayis. If you look in the Chumash, in Parshas Lech Lecha, there it says all the details about the mitzvah of bris. And there the Torah says that the mitzvah of bris is not only for a baby that's born, but the pasuk there says that for a Yilid Bayis. If you have a baby that's born by you in the house, not your own child, but they're talking about an Evet Kanani, born by you in the house, or another thing the pasuk says, Miknas Kaspacha, if you acquired a Evet Kanani, so you have to make a bris. Okay, what's the difference between a Yilid Bayis or a Miknas Kaspacha, whether it's born by you in the house, or you acquired this baby, you bought this baby? We'll see in a moment in the Gemara. But there are two cases, Yilid Bayis and Miknas Kesef. That's one thing. Okay. Now the other thing is, in Parshas Lech Lecha, the Torah speaks about this twice. One time the Torah says, if you want, you can take a look into the Rashi, Yesh Yilid Bayis. So Rashi brings one pasuk where it says, Himail Yimail Yilid Beischa or Miknas Kaspacha. You should make a bris for somebody born in your house and someone that you acquired with your money. Doesn't say anything. V'loy mefarish bei leches yamim. There in the Torah does not say that the bris should be done on the 8th day. It's mashma that it's lav dafka. You could do the bris on the first day. Then in another pasuk it says again, uben shmeinas yamim yimoy lechem kol zachal ederesechem yilid bayis and miknas kasef. Here the Torah adds two details. Here the Torah says that the bris for an Evet Kanani should be done on the 8th day, and here the Torah also says lachem. If this baby is born lachem, then it should be done on the 8th day. So this Brais is going to come to explain these psukim. Let's see the Brais inside again. So Kitanoi, Yesh Yilid Bayis, there is a baby that's born by you in the home. Shenimoy le'echad, and the bris is done on the first day. The Yesh Yilid Bayis, and there's also a Yilid Bayis that's born by you in the home, Shenimo l'shmeina, that the bris is done on the 8th day, right? So therefore in one pasuk it does not say shmeina, and in one pasuk it does say shmeina. And again the same thing, Yesh Miknas Kesef, there's a baby that you acquire as an Evet Kanani, Shenimo le'echad, and the bris is done on the first day. The Yesh Miknas Kesef, Shenimo l'shmeina. And then there's a baby that the bris is done on the 8th day. Yesh Miknas Kesef, Shenimo le'echad. So now we just said that there's a Miknas Kesef, that the bris is done on the first day. Yesh Miknas Kesef. And then there's a bris that's done, there's a Miknas Kesef. You bought a baby, and Shenimo l'shmeina, and the bris is done on the 8th day, Keitza. How is this? What's the difference? When do you buy a Eved, a baby? You buy him as a baby, and the bris is done on the first day, and when is the bris done on the 8th day? Keitzat. What's the pshat here? Lokach shivcha me'uberes. A person bought a shivcha kananis, a goyish maid, and she's already pregnant. So she has a baby that's there, and you're buying the mother together with the ubar, with the baby. Va'acha kach yolda. And then after you bought her, she gave birth. Zeu miknas kesef animal shmaina. This is a case where you bought a baby that the bris is going to be on the 8th day. Why is the bris going to be on the 8th day? Because the baby was born in your possession. The Torah writes lachem. When the baby is born in your possession, then the bris is on the 8th day. Okay, so you bought the baby because the mother was already expecting the baby when you bought the baby, when you bought the mother together with the baby, but the baby is born in your possession, the bris is on the 8th day. Lokach shivcha uvlada ima. If you bought a goyish maid together with the baby already born in her hands, so now the baby was not born in your possession. Zui miknas kesef shenim le'echad. This is the case of buying an Evet Kanani, a baby that was not born in your possession, and the bris is done right away on the first day. This is the pshat in the other pasuk where the Torah says that the bris could be done right away. It does not say lechem. The bris is done right away on the first day.
Could be done or should be done?
Should be done, l'chayre. I mean, there's no zman. I mean, I'm not sure if you have to.
Shouldn't push off a mitzvah.
Yeah, correct. Shouldn't push off a mitzvah. But the din of shmeina, that you wait until 8 days, is not does not apply. Okay, that's benegeya to acquiring, buying a baby. Then there's a baby that was born in your possession, and the bris is done made on the 8th day. Ketzad, when is that? Lokach shivcha. You bought a maid, v'nis abra etzloi, and she became pregnant in your possession. V'yolda, and she gave birth in your possession. Zel yulid bayis animal shmaina. This is the case of the baby born in your possession, and the bris is done on the 8th day. Why is the bris done on the 8th day? Because the baby was born in your possession. As long she became pregnant and born. Correct. Yeah, good. She became pregnant and born in your possession, so therefore the bris is done on the 8th day. Because it's lochem. Again, the word that it says in the Torah is lochem, that if the baby is born in your possession, so then the bris is done like by a yid on the 8th day. Now the Braisa does not spell out when do you have a case of a yilid bias, of a baby born in your possession, that the bris would be done on the 1st day. Right, before the Braisa said that there's a yilid bias that's nimmo le'echad, but the Braisa here does not spell it out. The Gemara is soon going to explain it. Now Rav Chama Omer, there's a second opinion here in this Braisa. Rav Chama does explain this. Rav Chama explains when do you have a case when a baby is born in your possession, but still the bris is done on the 1st day. Rav Chama says, Yolda, if this maid that you acquired gave birth, and only after she gave birth will you toivel her in the mikveh. So meaning, when you buy an Evet Kanani, when you buy a Shifcha Kananis, besides paying and acquiring her, making a kinyan, there's another thing. In order for it to become a full Evet Kanani or a full Shifcha Kananis, a Shifcha Kananis goes to the mikveh, like a gatus, because it's really a partial gatus when you become a Shifcha Kananis. But what happens over here if you had a case where a person bought a Shifcha Kananis, she belongs to you, you own her, but she didn't go to the mikveh yet. And she became pregnant in your possession, she gave birth in your possession, but all before she went to the mikveh. After she gave birth, then she went to the mikveh. What's the significance of this? What's the significance that she didn't go to the mikveh until after she gave birth? Not until she went to the mikveh do the halachas of a yid apply to her. So the din of tumas leida, that a mother that gives birth becomes tameh, does not apply to her yet. She didn't go to the mikveh. So when she gave birth, she did not become tameh. Only afterwards she went to the mikveh. Zeu yulid bayis. This is a case of a baby born in your possession because she became pregnant in your possession. That's shenima le'echad. But the bris could be done on the 1st day. Why is the bris done on the 1st day? This is the opinion of Rav Asi that we mentioned before, that you only wait till the 8th day if the mother became tameh. Over here, because she didn't become tameh when she gave birth, so therefore the bris is done on the 1st day. Hidbila, if she was toivel, you bought her, you took her to the mikveh, and she was toivel, she already became a yid, partially. V'achakach yolda. And then she gave birth, zeo yilid bayis animal shmaina. That's a baby born in your possession that the bris is done on the 8th day. So Rav Chama is clearly saying the point that Rav Asi said before, besides the fact that only a baby born in your possession, the bris is done on the 8th day. If the baby was born not in your possession, and you bought the baby afterwards, the bris is done on the 1st day, there's another detail. If the mother becomes tameh tumas leida, then we wait until 8 days. If the mother is not tameh tumas leida, we don't wait until the 8th day. This is Rav Chama. Okay, now the question is, what does the Tanakama hold? The Gemara does not spell out what the Tanakama holds. Apparently the Tanakama argues on this. The Tanakama holds waiting until the 8th day has nothing to do if the mother becomes tameh or not. According to the Tanakama, loy shani lei, he does not make this distinction whether the mother went to the mikveh first and then she gave birth, so she became tumaleida, or whether she gave birth first and then she was taken to the mikveh. So when she gave birth, there was no tumas leida. The afal gav the ein imay tmeya leida. Even if the mother, when she gave birth, there was no tumas leida, nimel shmaina. The bris is still on the 8th day. So this is the source where we see the machlokes Tanaim, that Rav Asi's statement is a machlokes between the Tanakama and Rav Chama. Okay, that's the pshat in this braysa. Now the Gemara is going to explain one detail that they didn't explain before. According to the Tanakama, when is there a case where there's a baby born in your possession that the bris will not be done on the 8th day? If the baby is born in your possession, it's lachem. The Torah says as long as whether it's your own son, whether it's an Evet Kanani that's born in your possession, it's lachem, the bris has to be done on the 8th day. So when is there a Yelid bias that the bris is not done on the 8th day? So Omar Rave, or others are not good as this, Bishleim. So the Gemara goes through first the opinion of Rav Chama, and then it comes back to the Tanakama. Bishleim Rav Chama, it's well understood according to Rav Chama. So we have 4 cases here in this Braisa. Mishkachas law, so we have the case of Yelid bias, a baby born in your possession, Nimoy le'echad, where the bris is done on the 1st day. Yelid bias, a baby born in your possession, Nimul leches, where the bris is done on the 8th day. Miknas kesef, we also have the halacha of a baby that you bought, Nimul leechad, and the bris is done on the 1st day. Umiknas kesef, a baby that you bought, Nimul leches, and the bris is done on the 8th day. And the Gemara spells it all out. Yolda v'acha kachit bila, if the baby was born in your possession, but it was born before the mother went to the mikveh, that's the case where the bris is done on the 1st day, because there was no tumas leida. If the mother went to the mikveh first, so there was tumas leida, and then the baby was born, that's the case where the bris is done regular on the 8th day. So we have those 2 cases. Miknas kesef, the case where you acquired a baby. So we also have 2 cases. Nimul Ishmaina, the case where the bris is done on the 8th day. Kagain shalokach shifcha meuberes. You bought a shifcha that was pregnant, and the baby was born in your possession. So once the baby was born in your possession, so the bris is done on the 8th day. But he clarifies, according to Rav Chama, that's only if the mother went to the mikveh before the baby was born. And then the baby was born, so then that's the case that the bris is done on the 8th day. Miknas kesef, a case where you bought the baby, and nimoy le'echad, and the bris will be done on the 1st day. So the Gemara brings a different case here. Kagain shalokach zeh shifcha v'zeh ubra. That would be in a case where 2 people bought this shifcha. One person bought the mother, and another person bought the ubar. 2 different people. So because the mother doesn't belong to you, the bris is not done on the 8th.
The baby doesn't?
Yes. The mother belongs to one person, and the baby belongs to another person. So the person, lav dafke. No, after the baby was born, one person bought the mother and one person bought the baby. So the one that bought the baby, because they don't own the mother, so therefore the bris is not done on the 8th day. The bris is done right away on the 1st day. Rashi points out that the Gemara did not have to go to such a case, this case that the Gemara gives here now. It's not necessary for the Gemara to go this far, that one person bought the mother and another person bought the baby. The Gemara could have made it simpler, but the Gemara says this anyways. I'm not exactly sure why the Gemara went this far. Okay, this is all according to Rav Chama. Rav Chama, we have a case where we have 4 different cases. Sometimes the bris is done on the 8th day, and sometimes the bris is done on the 8th and the 1st day. Now the point here is, according to Rav Chama, the reason why we could divide all these cases is because Rav Chama, in order for the bris to be done on the 8th day, there are 2 requirements. Number 1, the baby had to have been born in your possession. The Torah says lachem. And number 2, only if there's a mother here, and if there's a mother that's tumah leida. And because we want the mother to be happy by the bris, so we wait until the 8th day. If you're missing any of these 2 conditions, for one extreme case is where you don't even own the mother b'chlal, you just own the baby, someone else owns the mother, so then the bris is not done on the 8th day, there's no reason to wait, you make the bris before. That's according to Rav Chama. But according to the Tanakame, we don't have all of these cases. All the cases we have, but Ella, Yelid Bayis, Nimoy le'echad, a case where the baby is born in your possession, and still the bris is done on the 1st day, when is a bris done on the 1st day if the baby is born in your possession? According to the Tanakama, there's only one condition that the din, that the bris is on the 8th day, should apply. What's that requirement? That the baby was born, lachem, in your possession. So every Yelid Bayis, the baby was born in your possession, so the bris should be done on the 8th day, regardless if there's a mother, if there's no mother here, if there's tumas later, there's no tumas later, the bris should be done on the 8th day. So Rabbi Yirmiyah explains, shifcha le'ubra. We're talking here about a person that bought only the fetus in the mother's womb. A person buys the shifcha, but he did not buy the mother. He's buying the ubar that the mother has, but not buying the shifcha herself. So there's no mother here. You only bought the ubar and not the shifcha herself. So the baby was actually born in your possession. It's called a yelid bayis. When the baby was born, that baby being born is born in your possession because you bought the baby before the birth. But you only bought the ubar and not the mother. And that's the case where you don't have to wait till the 8th day because the mother is not there. You only bought the ubar. This is all good. This is all explained according to the opinion that says kinyan peiris lavka kinyan aguftami. When you buy peiris of a tree, you're buying peiris. You're buying the peiris, and because you own all the peiris, it's not considered as if you own the guf itself. The guf of the tree is not yours. The peiris are yours. So you can separate the two, the peiris and the guf of the tree itself. But the opinion that says that when you buy the peiris, it's as if you own the guf of the tree itself. The peiris and the guf is one and the same thing. What's the tree? The tree is the peiris. So therefore it's one and the same thing. So what are we going to say over here? Over here the same thing applies. You have the mother and you have the ubar. The mother and the ubar is one and the same thing. If you own the ubar, you own the mother. And for the Gemara, Amarav Misharshiyeh B'lekeach Shifcha Al Menas Shaloi Lad Bila. We're talking about a case of a person that bought the mother, and he bought the mother with the condition not to be toivel her. He's not taking her to the mikveh. Usually that's not the usual case of a Shifcha Kananis. But derech klal, you buy a Shifcha Kananis, so you pay for her and you own her. But besides owning her, you also have to be toivel her, and she becomes partially a ger, and she's partially a yid, and therefore the mitzvah of bris milah applies in that way. Mashenkin over here, the person bought the mother, but he was not toivel the mother. The baby that's born is considered to be a yid, but not the mother. So because the mother is not considered to be a yid, so it doesn't qualify for lachem. It only qualifies to be lachem if the mother belongs to you. So therefore, the mother. Now you asked the question, how is that even allowed? So you can take a look over here in the Taisus Kagoin, small Taisus. Taisus says, "Could the mefarish be yivamis beperik achaylet?" The lokach al menas shaloi legaira yachal hashoysa harba. You could buy. True, there is the regular din of a shifcha kananis. You buy a shifcha kananis, you're buying her, you pay for her, and you also take her to the mikveh, and she becomes a shifcha kananis. But you could have her in your possession for an extended period of time, even without taking her to the mikveh. So a person buys a shifcha kananis al menas that he's not going to be taking her to the mikveh. In such a case, the baby that's born, the bris of the baby will be on the 1st day and not on the 8th day.
And if the baby is considered a full Jew?
Yeah, the baby will be considered to be a full Jew because you own the mother, although the mother does not have a bris. The mother did not go to the mikveh, that is. Mm-hmm. So the mother does not have any din of a yid at all. So in that sense, there's no din of lachem, because the mother is owned by you, you paid for the mother. But on the other hand, the mother is not owned by you fully, that she becomes partially a yid. So therefore the baby that's born is chayiv and a bris, but the bris is done on the 1st day. Okay, that's the conclusion of the Gemara.